next speaker is Professor Arash Zaghi in the Department of Civil and Environmental Engineering here at UConn. He holds professional licenses in both civil and structural engineering. He received his PhD in civil engineering from the University of Nevada, Reno in 2009. He's passionately committed to research that contributes to the development and application of next generation structural materials and also to the transformation of the engineering education system itself. His latest research endeavors examine creativity and engineering education with specific focus on the unique potential of students with ADHD. He's been supported by grants from the National Science Foundation, and his research has been highlighted in ASEE's Prism magazine. Last year in 2016, he received the National Science Foundation Career Award to study significance of neurodiversity in creative engineering workforce. And his research interests intersect seeking to recruit and retain divergent thinkers to the engineering field. Arash.
Thank you very much, John, for the introduction. Thank you very much for the opportunity that you gave me to present my work in this workshop. My background is structural engineering, so with the introduction, you may have asked why I'm here. So let me tell you why. 4 years ago, I was diagnosed with ADHD when I started, or when I was 2-3 years in my career as an assistant professor, when things became too overwhelming for me to manage in terms of time, in terms of number of tasks that I had to manage. And when I was diagnosed, I started reading books, articles, what this ADHD thing is about. And ADHD, by the way, I assume that most of us know what it is attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. I learned a lot about myself. It put many things in context for me, a lot of difficulties and challenges that I had both in my education and daily life. And I stopped at that point blaming myself for being lazy, for being even dumb in cases. And I could answer finally that question, why I had to try 3-4 times harder for certain subjects when I was in high school or in college, while for other subjects I would go to exam with no problem, with no study, and get an A, easy A. And that, when I was reviewing those articles, I also noticed there are stories of very successful people with ADHD that they show some risk-taking and creativity levels that maybe they're higher than average normal people. And that inspired me to look more into that. And reading those articles and statistics, I realized that, yes, literature indeed supports, technical literature, many studies that individuals with ADHD, they have higher risk-taking and creativity potential. And surprising statistics is that only 3% of students with ADHD who make it to college, not general college population, they graduate with engineering degree, and most of them, they go to science and art because they enjoy that better, although they have engineering minds typically. And the rate of dropout from the college is significantly higher for this population of students. So I want to show you one example for how our education system is actually, I don't expect you to be able to read that. It is a report card, a pretty old report card. And I'm going to show you a video, I hope it plays, that says how we have been treating these divergent thinkers, these different thinkers, in education system, and we are still doing that actually. So. So do we have internet connection, John? Do we have internet connection? Okay, so it's a YouTube video, so if it doesn't play, I still have a slide that. Okay, so that report card, then let me go back and show you. It says, I believe this student has ideas about becoming a scientist. On his present showing, so it's difficult to read in angle, this is quite ridiculous. If he cannot learn simple biological facts, he would not have a chance. He wouldn't have a chance of doing the work of a scientist. So this student won the Nobel Prize in 2012 in biology and in medicine and psychology. And for a revolutionary breakthrough understanding of how they can reverse the cells and make stem cells from mature cells. So our goal is to increase or promote the participation of these students in engineering. Let's look at this model. We have this population of students that they are in engineering, and the best we do in our education system typically is to train them how to solve structured problem. So we can give them a problem that is very well defined, and they start going step by step and solving the problem. And there is a population of gifted and talented students that they can support incremental advancement of the technology. And we have some smaller population subgroup that they are divergent thinkers that can come up with creative solutions for the problems and also can find problems. Problem finding requires a higher level of creativity than problem solving. And then we have this population of risk takers that not necessarily all of them are smart, but those that they are smart and they are divergent thinkers are able to make breakthroughs, radical changes, addressing major challenges, things that are large magnitude like cybersecurity. These are not small problems. So that's what we are hoping to accomplish. I was fortunate to be supported by the National Science Foundation in the past 3 years to pursue this research project through 3 grants over $1 million to show the first grant was to show if there is indeed a statistically significant difference between creativity of students with and without ADHD. And then through an undergraduate research experience site, we showed that they can excel in engineering research and engineering labs a lot better than what they can perform or can do in classroom setting. And finally, my career project that we are going in a lot more detail, understanding how we can improve neurodiversity and with that, the creativity of the workforce. I couldn't resist finishing this presentation without showing you some numbers. So I just want to show you some highlights. This column shows the ADHD impairment levels as measured by Brown test. So you can see there is a significant positive correlation between creativity and ADHD. And this column shows GPA with ADHD and its subscales, all negative correlations. And then we go to total GPA with total Brown, which is negative correlation again, that shows the challenges they have, although they are very talented in education setting. And something that's not necessarily ADHD, but is I think wake-up call for us. The memory T-score, when it is high, it means that there is a high level of impairment in terms of memory and recollection, and it is negatively correlated with GPA. That tells us how reliant, how heavily we are emphasizing on memorization in our evaluations. And a very interesting finding for me was this curve to show that there is no difference between creative potential or creativity index of male and female students. I was very happy to see this in our data. That led to, I was fortunate enough that I was introduced to Jim Barney and Ramesh last year during CyberSEED actually. And we started talking about this, and that became an initiative, I would say, and a program that Comcast is now leading, through which we are running a 3-year pilot program that our goal is to provide fellowships to students with ADHD to do their PhD. They do not see that as an obvious choice for themselves. For them, just finishing the undergrad degree is maybe the best accomplishment they can have, but we want to show they are capable of doing a lot more than that. So our goal is to, first of all, increase the neurodiversity of engineering workforce, raise awareness, make as much noise as possible, raise awareness about the importance of neurodiversity, which is not talked about typically when we have meetings on diversity. And showcase the potential of students that they can excel in the right setting, in an environment not necessarily passive learning, passive classroom. It's exciting research labs. They can do a lot better than other students. And inspire other students to pursue grad studies. And also make or form some role models that can inspire students to come to engineering college students. So we have ended this year. We have two female students in engineering with ADHD. They are doing fantastic, and I will definitely keep you updated on their progress. And I would like to thank Comcast and National Science Foundation for supporting this effort. And if we have a few minutes, John, I would love to hear from you what you think about this, and if you have any question.
Any questions?
So based on the data that you managed to gather, is there let's say a manifesto that engineering departments across the Americas should be thinking about signing and making their professors subscribe to?
Changing their curriculum and the way we are teaching engineering and teaching in general is a very ambitious plan. We are not there yet. We are identifying the problems. We are identifying some of the potential solutions, but I think we have a few more years to get to a point that we come to the same room and we start talking about, okay, how to change things to make it better for these students.
Just a quick question. The studies that you've done have been at the college level. How about at the high school level.
Okay, thank you for actually reminding me that. Last year, for the first time, through a supplement award that was funded by National Science Foundation, we had 5 high school students joining our college students for 2 weeks, joining our research labs. And I believe during that experience, they realized that they are not alone. They can accomplish a lot, and they felt very comfortable and safe actually in that environment, being with other students. And a quick questionnaire, informal actually interview that we had at the end, out of 5, when we started, I mean, only 1 of them wanted to go to engineering, but when they left, 4 of them, they said we are going to seriously consider actually going to engineering now.
And I'll just add another comment. Since this is a cybersecurity conference, there's been a lot of studies that have shown that people who are risk takers are good security researchers and security professionals. So I think identifying those people with ADHD would probably be excellent cybersecurity professionals as well.
Yeah, I would say many of the hackers, they have a lot of characteristics of ADHD.
All right, if there aren't any questions, we'll give a round of applause to
Thank you.